Hey there guys, back with another video game commentary by Tennis Aloha. I am your host, Hueco, and today we'll be playing the Xbox and a game called Neon Abyss. Silly game with a kid or some characters. You go into the abyss and death is the only way out. As always, during this video game playing, we'll be commentating on tennis topics. And the first topic is going to be... Whoa, it came out of nowhere. The first topic is going to be tiebreakers. This might turn into a rant, disclaimer, because I am very opinionated on this topic. I'm gonna give you the conclusion from the get-go. The conclusion is that tennis is changing, and it's always been changing. This is nothing new in terms of tennis format. Tennis match formats, scoring. Oh man, that was a bomb. Tennis has been changing since day one. In order to make the game either more appealing to people, more fun, more challenging, more or better suited for TV, right? For the professionals. And the tiebreak is something that's been evolving. And the latest format, or the one that most of you guys are used to or are playing at the moment, is a 10-point tiebreak instead of a third set. And the conclusion of this whole thing is that that's the way it is, and the best thing to do is to accept it and embrace it and use it to your advantage. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. First off, my personal opinion, it's not a good thing that... I need money to get in there, but it's not a good thing that players are not playing a third set, because here's my take on it. It's called a tie break. So when it's used for 7 points, when the score is 6-all in the set, there is a argument to be made that that's why it's called a tie break, because it breaks the tie that players found themselves in. But it's not a very usual occurrence, or the 6-all is not very likely that will happen in a match. So if you have 10 matches, let's say in one tournament, or just 10 first matches, right? You got 20 players. Then most of those matches are not going to go to a tiebreak, because the players are not gonna hit 6-all during one of the sets. And so the tiebreak breaks that tie. But when it comes to the third set, that's not a tie, because the format says that you have to win 2 sets to win the match. Okay? So if you win the first 2 sets, that's it. You won 2 sets and you won the match. But when you win one set and your opponent wins the other one, there's no tie. They still have to play a third set. But they're saying, okay, well now is a tie, and play a tie break. So that's why it doesn't really appeal to me, because it implies that there is a tie, but my argument is that there really isn't. It's like they've created a tie by having less time. Alright, I told you guys this would be a bit of a rant video because I am very opinionated on the subject. But when I was younger, when I was growing up, we didn't have any tie breaks. We had to play a third set every single time. Whenever there was a time delay due to rain or some kind of just a setback that, you know, players couldn't, most likely for weather, that players didn't have enough time, then the format would change, making sets shorter by either taking ads, you know, the ads. Basically, if you got to deuce, whoever won that point would win the match. Or the set would start at 2-all, and whoever got to 6 would win the set. And that was kind of a refreshing way to deal with time restraints, because it didn't really take away that rhythm that you kind of experience when you play sets. When you play a tiebreak, it is way more tedious because you serve a couple of times, then your opponent serves a couple of times. You got the whole switching sides, which we'll get to in a minute, and it's a whole thing. Only if the players got to 6-all, they would experience that lack of rhythm. And it was understood because, okay, well, you know, we already played a set. We won 6 games each, so we played already 12 games. Let's break the tie. But nowadays, you know, you win a set, your opponent wins a set, and now you have to play a tiebreak. So it's a lot more common to have this, you know, non-rhythmic format to win matches. So in order for a player to be successful nowadays, they must really like playing and get comfortable playing tie breaks. That's gonna make a huge difference in today's modern game. So my advice to anyone who wants to be good at tennis, period, just be good at the sport, is to get very comfortable playing tie breaks, knowing exactly how to switch sides, when to serve, who, you know, how it works, will allow the player to be to have a more rhythm. The format is already tedious as it stands, and for players who don't know what they're doing, it's even worse. They really get kind of discombobulated from the experience by not knowing exactly where to be. And also a big thing is that you don't want your opponent telling you, you know, where to stand, where to be, what the score is. That just kind of sets you up for them to take the reins of the match and beat you. So you want to make sure that you know exactly what you're doing. Now, of course, you're gonna make mistakes, like you're gonna stand on the right side thinking the ball's coming, and the opponent might be like, oh wait, you know, I'm serving on this side, and it's your serve, or like it's my serve, not yours, and I'm serving from here. And you know, 1 or 2 times that's fine. But if it becomes something that they actually take control of you know, of where you stand and control of the tiebreak, that can lead to them just having a big advantage over you during playtime, because of that whole, you know, I'm the leader and I'm gonna win kind of situation. So get really comfortable playing tiebreaks, and the only way to do this, of course, is by playing tiebreaks. And this is a suggestion I make to junior players mostly, and also doubles players. In doubles, the tiebreaks get even more confusing because you have 4 people instead of 2, and where to stand, where, you know, there's more variables. And even if one player doesn't know exactly what they're doing, it could have kind of a cascading effect where other players don't know what they're doing. So it's important to be very, very comfortable where you are, or where to be, knowing where to be, and also that your partner knows where they should be. In terms of switching sides, I would recommend players to get really good at the common tie-break switching format. Again, when the tie-break was originally instituted for breaking the tie when players were at 6-all during a set, they would switch every 6 games. So if the score was 4-2, that's when they would switch sides. When the score was 3-all, they would switch. Then when the score was 6-6, they would switch again. And you know, as confusing as it is, people got used to it. People knew how to switch, okay, every 6 points. But now they introduce what is called a common tie-break switching format, in which the players switch at the very first point and then every 4 points. So that makes it, supposedly it should make it less confusing and more fair for doubles especially. But I disagree. I don't like that format. I think especially when you're going to 10 points, when your tiebreak is to 10 points, then you would argue that keeping it at 6 would make sense, because you know, if you're playing to 10, you're gonna hit that 6 at least once, and very, very likely twice. So you're still gonna switch twice, which is enough, okay? I mean, yeah, the sun is in your eyes, but you know, tough luck or whatever, you know, like it doesn't have to be super, super fair, because to accommodate that fairness of the side switching, you know, more side switching in a 10-point tiebreak, you probably end up switching about 5-6 times. I would say that it gets tedious, and it's hard for the players to enjoy each point and to get a rhythm, which is a big thing, or a big aspect of the game, is rhythm and being kind of in the zone. So I'm gonna break it down for you a little bit here. There are 2 types of tie breaks. There's the traditional tie break and the common tie break. I know, common sounds like common, but it's actually C-O-M-A-N, and that's the name of the last name of the person who invented this form of switching sides on the tie break. The traditional way to switch sides is every 6 points, and the common way is you switch at the very first point and then every 4. So you switch at 1-0, for example, you switch at 5-0, and then you switch at 9-0, right? Or any 2 numbers that add up to those numbers. So you switch at 1, you switch at 2-3, right? 2 plus 3 equals 5. And then you switch at 5-4. Depends on the score, but you get what I'm saying. Whereas when you switch every 6 in the traditional tiebreak, you switch at 3-all, 6-0, 5-1, whatever adds up to 6, and then another 6, like 6-all, 5-7. Well, 5-7, it would be over. Never mind. Basically at 6-all or 9-all. In any case, you want to know exactly which one you are doing and how to do it. And the only way to do it is to get good at it, is to practice. Whenever you play with your friend, don't play sets. play for whole 2 hours just tie breaks. It's gonna go a long way for your game. It really will make a big difference. If you don't play tie breaks with your in practice, you are very likely that you will be behind everybody else, especially if it's doubles. That's two other people that are ahead of you in tie breaks. That could make a huge difference, especially because it's very common. It's very, very likely that you will play a tie break either by getting to 6-all and you play to 7, or by winning one set apiece and playing a 10-point tie break. I know I'm just kind of repeating myself over and over, but I do it so that it becomes clear that it is important to understand this if you want to be a good player, if you want to be tough to beat. I knew a guy, he was a tennis pro, teaching pro in Hawaii, and he what was his name? What was his name? I'll remember in a sec. I'll remember. He was really good at tie breaks, exceptionally good at tie breaks, and he would say that. He would say, "Oh, we're going to a tie break. I'm gonna win." He would have that kind of confidence, and it was true. Like, I mean, he was a bit better than me. Like, he would beat me more times than I would beat him. Although every now and then I would kind of just beat him really, really good. But anyways, he was a bit better than me. His level was a little higher, but every time we played a tie break, I would lose quickly. Like, he would just have an upper hand for some reason, and I don't know if it was like psychological, because he kept saying how good he was at tie breaks and how tie breaks were, how he won most matches. But it worked. Whatever it was that he was doing worked, and that is a huge lesson for all players: is get really, really comfortable with tie breaks, and you will be a lot tougher to beat. Okay, as simple as that. All right, guys, that wraps up the tie breaks. We hate them. You're not gonna get a rhythm. It's gonna be tedious. It's gonna be frequent that you play tie breaks, and so get really good at them and enjoy them. As much as you hate them, probably your opponent does as well. But don't let them beat you by being more comfortable than you when you play a tie break. The next topic is going to be drop shots. Ooh, that's a good topic. The drop shot. Quick reference. Back in the day when tennis started, when only kings were playing it in France, basically tennis was invented by the French. That's what we think. And the English followed very quickly, and the Germans used to play as well. Basically, Western Europe got into tennis in a big way, and the kings would play, and the royalty and the lords. And executing a drop shot was a big no-no. Okay, if you executed a drop shot, I think you would lose. If I'm not mistaken, I think you would lose the point. Like, you would basically lose the point for executing a drop shot, even though you basically won the point. If you executed the drop shot correctly, but it wouldn't count. It would be like, no, you lost the point. You shouldn't do that. So it was like a etiquette thing, like you can't do that to your opponent. How are you gonna? But nowadays, in today's modern game, the drop shot is legal and it counts, and it's a good thing. So The first thing I would say about the drop shot is that if you are one of those players that says sorry when you hit a drop shot, you need to stop, okay? Even if you didn't mean to hit a drop shot. I mean, yeah, the sorry, it's part of tennis, right? Oh, you hit the top of the net, like a lead type shot, and you win the point, and you say, oh, sorry. Yeah, but it's just more of a courtesy. You're not really sorry, and your opponent knows that. Your opponent knows that, yeah, if they could do that, over and over, they would. They would say sorry every time, but they wouldn't be sorry. They would be glad to be winning the match. And then, they could say at the end, like, oh, if it wasn't for those lucky shots, maybe I wouldn't have won, but I still won, and I'm glad that it happened in a way. So if you're one of those players that says sorry when they hit a drop shot, that's not good for your game, okay? Let alone, politics of, someone else's feelings or whatever. You're doing your game a disservice by saying sorry when you hit a drop shot, because you are conditioning yourself to not want to do it, to be a little bit wary of hitting drop shots. And you need them. You need to be able to hit drop shots when you play tennis, because they are a very, very good way to get a point every now and then and not get too tired, or just put your opponent's optimism, kind of lower it, have them suffer a little bit, have them running and be disappointed for not getting to the ball. All these things are really going to be good for you in order to win matches. So get good at being happy when you hit a drop shot. Yeah, it kind of sucks for your opponent, especially if you didn't mean to hit a drop shot, but that's just part of tennis. They should be faster, they should get more fit, whatever it is, it's not your problem, okay? Don't be sorry about hitting drop shots, and get good at them. Now, they are a bit of a double-edged sword, because you can also lose a lot of points for executing too many drop shots. You basically can lose a match, or they can make a difference between winning and losing a match if you overdo drop shots and they're not successful. It actually can build your opponent's confidence, and also it could deteriorate your own game, and you would start to push and be tentative if you are executing too many drop shots and they're not successful. So they're a double-edged sword that you shouldn't overuse, and there is a way to learn that. Of course, in tennis is very much a technique game. Why am I going this way? Let's go this way. Not technique. Of course, you need technique to hit the drop shot, but what I meant was strategy. Okay, there is a way to understand when to hit a drop shot. Okay, what circumstance, and also depending on the score as well. That's gonna go a long way if you know when during the score to hit a drop shot. Also, of course, having drop shots on both wings, forehand and backhand. A lot of players can hit only one drop shot or the other, either only a forehand drop shot or a backhand forehand, and they struggle with the with the other one. Also, you learn how to disguise it, and that does require more of an advanced training. Of course, if you're not able to hit drop shots yet, or are very good at them, it would be really hard for you to disguise them and execute them. So first, worry about execution, of course, worry about getting better at that. But as you do get better at hitting drop shots, and you get more touch out of your game, then it would be very smart to learn how to disguise drop shots. And that is not something that's really hard to do. It actually comes a little bit intuitive as you get better at tennis overall. You'll start to learn how to disguise shots, pretend you're gonna hit a shot and then actually hit another type of shot. But it is something that you can, kind of get a head start as you get better at hitting drop shots. All right. Okay, that covers drop shots. Let's move on to the next topic. Alright guys, and we're back. Alright guys, the last topic is going to be kind of a silly bonus topic, not really serious or anything. Not that any of them other ones were serious, but the last topic is going to be wearing a hat when you play tennis. Now, as you can see, I wear my hat a lot lately. I'm kind of going bald, so I found wearing a hat a little kind of comforting. But actually, I don't like wearing a hat too much when I play a serious match. Like if I play practice, or I'm just hitting around, or I play with a friend, I wear a hat to cover, to cover the sun, basically. I mean, we all know what hats are for. But when I play like a tournament match, like a serious match, I don't like wearing anything on my head or in my wrists, or my, like a headband. I don't like any of those things. Maybe a watch, like a light watch, would be okay. But other than that, I don't like wearing anything to kind of, I just want to feel more free and like more light. Just kind of want to feel light and present. And I think sometimes the accessories kind of, they can either help you. I mean, I can see how, most professional players use some kind of gadget, or, like Nadal always uses the headband, and Federer as well. A lot of players always wear a hat. Isner is famous for wearing his hat backwards always. And I'll say one more thing about that, actually. That's a kind of an interesting point that I wanted to point out about wearing a hat, is that I do find it that there is a legitimate reason for using a hat backwards when you play tennis. The sun sometimes, it's not just on your eyes that gets in the way, or like that the sun bothers you in your eyes, but also the back of your neck, constantly being hit by the sun gets, really red, and it could be painful, and just, doesn't look as good. So if you wear your hat backwards, you're kind of covering the back of your neck area. And that, I can see that being an advantage. And I say that because I know that there are people who say that it's dumb or silly. I've had people tell me that personally. Not about me, but just in general. They were saying wearing a hat backwards is the stupidest thing ever because it's not doing anything for you. But I would say that it does cover the back of your neck. As far as the why I don't like wearing a hat, and if I do wear a hat, a lot of times I do wear it backwards, and I'm gonna tell you why. When you are serving, or when I'm serving, let's see, when I'm serving and the sun is in my eyes, okay, there are ways that I can minimize the sun, but the hat does not help me. So what is my kind of, okay, so first off, why doesn't the hat help me when the sun is in my eyes? Well, the sun is still there. And what the hat does is it blocks the sun when you're looking downwards, right? When you're looking, you know, for the ground strokes, for example, not downwards, but straight ahead. If you're looking straight ahead towards your opponent, and the sun is, you know, above you, the hat does, you know, help with the sun not being on the way. But when you are serving, you have to look up to the ball. And what the hat does, I found out, for me at least, is that it hides the sun when you're bouncing the ball, you know, getting ready for the serve, basically doing your service routine. When you get ready to serve, the sun is being blocked by your hat. But as soon as you toss the ball upwards and you kind of lift your head, the hat doesn't cover the sun any longer, and it hits you right in the eyes, which is even worse, because I'd rather not have a hat and see the sun clearly before I serve. That way I can either adjust my my toss, or I can adjust my swing, whatever I have to do. But when the hat is in the way, I think I have less time to do that, because I basically don't see the sun until I toss the ball up. And that's the reason I finally beat this girl. And that's the reason why I don't personally like wearing a hat when I serve. I don't think it really helps me minimize the sun. And it actually makes it worse. Like I said, the problem with me with the sun is not so much when I play for my ground strokes. The only problem with the sun that I have is when the sun is bothering me on my serve. And the biggest issue with that is, after you serve, you might actually hit a good serve because you mitigate the sun in your eyes. You just do something to block it, or you know, you toss differently or swing differently. But right back when you're in the ground strokes, you still have that glare in your eyes. And that glare is really what messes me up. It's not so much the hitting of the serve, it's the afterwards moment. And like I said, whenever I wear a hat, that becomes even double, because the sun is basically not there at all, and then all of a sudden it's a flash. And so the sun, you know, once I serve, the sun goes away again, but I still have that glare in my eyes because of that difference between sun, no sun. So that's why I don't wear a hat. But I do think that a lot of players find it, don't have this problem that I'm mentioning, or that they just don't really see it that way. So the hat is a really good solution. About sunglasses, I don't know. I don't like the look of a player with sunglasses on. But if it's something that helps you, sure, why not? You know, why not? Who cares? As long as you can play comfortably. I don't like sunglasses. I mean, I think that I'm gonna drop them, even if they're really good sunglasses, like sporty ones. Even I've had pairs that are made strictly for tennis, and I like using them when I hit every now and then. I don't really use them that much, but when I play, no. I mean, when I play, I have to have, like I said, a free kind of vibe going on. All right, and yeah, there's not much advice that I can give you with all this, but I guess the takeaway is figure out what you like. That's really my takeaway. And some people might find the things that you like silly, but if they help you win matches, who cares? I've seen players that wear ridiculous looking hats when they play tennis, but more power to them if they are able to use them to their advantage, and it doesn't or it might even enhance their game. So figure out what you like, stick with it, and don't care about others. Alright guys, I think that's enough for this game today. We've covered 3 topics. What else can I say? I'll catch you on the next one.